Sega CD is back again, and something else that's back again is Sherlock Holmes, Consulting Detective. Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Volume 2 was released on the Sega CD. The first one was a pack-in with the first release of the Sega CD, but 2 you would have bought on your own, I suppose. You want 3 more cases? You've got it, starring Peter Farley and Warren Green. So, as far as I can tell, the format of this game, the way it works, seems to be exactly the same as Volume 1. But if you didn't get enough, Sherlock, now you have more. All right. Looks like we're ready to go. Okay, so it looks like that Holmes' instructions is the same video clip that we have in the first game when Holmes introduces himself. So this is just like a direct continuation. You know how the game works. Get to it with the 2 lions, or the murdered munitions magnate, or the pilfered paintings. Let's try the 2 lions. See how it goes.
I dare say, Holmes, I believe someone has left a note upon our door. Dear Mr. Holmes, please check today's Times. I think you will find something of interest. Signed, a friend.
Okay, well that's our we don't even see our characters in this intro video. Says you're gonna have to start off by checking the newspaper. All right, well, let's bring up our notes. So check the newspaper. And in the video, it showed the date. I'm going to bring that up. Right, it's 17 August, 1888.
I think you will find something of interest.
And it says from a friend. All right, so that's what, I guess they're going to go make us go look for the beginning of this case. All right, August 17th, 1888. All right, newspaper looks the same as it did in the first game. Only 2 pages, fortunately. Let's go looking through the articles and see if we see something of interest. Here's a birth. Are we looking for births? I don't know if that's what we're looking for. A son, Anfield House, Shooter Hill, R. Cooper Willis, a daughter, marriages, W. E. Miller, Frederick Henry Cox, death. Maybe we're interested in deaths, such as on the 14th at 175 Adelaide Road, South Hampstead, Catherine King, widow of William Wellington Cooper. This doesn't sound like much is happening here. It's an old widow dying. Maybe there's something to that. Let's see. Robert Arthur Farquhar Yeo, second son of Thomas and Helen Margaret Yeo, in his 5th year. Oh, death at only 5. In memoriam. Let's see. After rapid consumption at Bournemouth, Margaret Louisa Gretchen, the dearly beloved only daughter of Mrs. Mona Louisa Hannah, fell asleep, greatly mourned, most loving memory, AEL. Personal. Okay, so now we're going to the personals. Parker Knott, you promised on your honor to communicate in August. Why find me out to torture me thus? Trusting you as you asked, I have made engagements. I cannot fulfill mind and body. I'm seriously ill. So I deserve all this from you? In any case, tell me the worst. Suspense is torture, and not like you. That's an unusual thing. Maybe that's something we should look into. I'll bring up the notes, and we'll type a name. We get a name of Parks not taxidermist. Big game or small. Bilbo Underhill. It's just an ad. Valerie Keenan speaks on home rule at the Irish Social Club. Colleges and public schools. Let's see. Next term begins. High school for boys. Non-residential pupils. 25. English and foreign masters of high repute. Entertainments. Roy Slade's Wild African Extravaganza opening tonight. Mr. Slade's celebrated spectacle returns from Wilhelmshaven with horses, elephants, lions, clowns, performers of all description. O'Neill, the great lion tamer. At each performance, Mr. O'Neill will give his marvelous exhibition with his full-grown lions, the most daring performance ever witnessed, daily at 3 and 8 at Hengler Circus. I don't know if that's something we can watch, but I mean, if we can go to Hengler's there. If we can go to Hengler's Circus, maybe we should check that out. Roy Slade tonight. Okay, that's the same article. Okay, is that it? Just to make sure. Okay, no. We're looking at the back page as well. Recent excavations in Egypt. Oh, this was the case that we did last time. Dr. Ebenezer Turnbull. I guess we don't need to pay attention to that. Law notices, House of Lords. Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. High Court of Justice before, let's see, Native Guano Company versus Sewage Manure Company. Jarndyce versus Jarndyce, the landmark case, which had been called off by participants after a century of adjudication, was reopened yesterday without any member of the Jarndyces involved. Settlement expected. Long-running case. Divorce case of Ebert versus Ebert, in which the Queen's proctor has intervened, will be heard this morning before Sir James Hannon and a special jury. We understand that neither respondent, Mrs. Ebert, nor Sir Giles Elgin will be represented by counsel. The Times may be purchased in Paris. Court circular. The Queen drove out yesterday morning. Yesterday. A lot of lines in this one. So I should mention that I've never actually played Volume 2 of this. So I have no idea what this case is going to be. Oh, mysterious death. Hold on. Shortly after 9 o'clock this morning, the body of Stephen Lyons was found lying in St. George's Road, Southwark. A short time previously, the deceased, a first officer for Aberdeen Shipping, was seen being led in the direction where the body was found by 2 women and a man. The body had been robbed, even 2 gold earrings, which the man had been observed to have been wearing. 2 women of ill fame, and a man described as a laborer, but known to be the associate of bad characters, have been taken into custody on suspicion of having caused the sailor's death. There were no wounds on the body, and it's supposed that an overdose of some drug has been administered. All right, it seems very likely that this is what we should be paying attention to. All right, let me get back up here. Let's see, get the notes. So very likely, it's Stephen Lyons. Let's see. He's dead. St. George's Road, Southwark. He was a first officer for Aberdeen Shipping. 2 women, 1 man, bad characters. Was wearing gold earrings. Those are gone. All right, so let's have a look. Well, I mean, I guess we should take a look at the rest and see if there's anything else that gets our attention. Investigators of Scotland Yard have appealed to the public for any information of the recent disturbances in Whitechapel. I guess that's referring to Jack the Ripper, which I don't think is going to be part of this case. Purse snatchers Mr. Gladstone, talking about home rule for Ireland. It's a rather lengthy letter. Accident on docks. Barry O'Neill, lineman tamer for Royd Slade's Wild African Extravaganza, was injured as the show was being unloaded at the London docks. It's unfortunate that the spectacle will be at Hengler's Circus for 3 weeks. Will be opening tonight without one of its top billed acts. Mr. Slade assured us, however, that the show will be buzzing with excitement, as always. It sounds like Roy Slade's Wild African Extravaganza is having some trouble. I mean, I kind of want that to be what the case is about, but I feel like it's going to be about Stephen Lyons. All right. So let's see. We have our contacts. I mean, we should, at the very least, probably investigate what we saw in the newspaper first before talking to them. Well, let's see. Is Hengler's Circus here? It is. Fingers crossed. Fun, love, and sport this Slade is. Well, we were helping him feed the elephants. He asked if we had any experience as lion tamers. Hengler's Circus hires a variety of circus acts. Appears they're quite fond of booking Wild West shows from the States. Can we visit this man?
What can I do for you two hombres?
We're investigating last night's murder of the 2 lions in Hyde Park.
Oh, now that was something. I'm telling you, I've been from the Pecos to the Pampas, from the Sierra to the Sahara, and I never would have thought I'd have 2 of my lions killed in the capital city of the civilized world.
Oh, my. Then the lions were yours, Mr. Slade?
Well, in a manner of speaking, they were with the show. Barry O'Neill actually owned them, poor compadre. He's laid up in St. Thomas Hospital with a busted leg. He was helping unload the ship yesterday when a crate fell smack on him. He'll be laid up for some time. Poor fella. Poor me, his cats kind of made my show.
Do you know how he acquired the cats?
Oh, he caught him himself in Africa with his bare hands. Probably the only hands that ever handled those cats. I'm telling you, they take your head off as soon as look at you.
So no one else could safely get close to the lions?
Well, there's Barry's wife. She's traveling with the show, too. Well, she's in the act, but just window dressing, if you know what I mean. I hear she's staying with Barry's folks here in London.
All right, pleasant surprise. It looks like we are investigating the circus. I must have missed the part where it said the lions died. I mean, I did read about the accident. I guess I was focusing on the injury rather than the deaths of the lions. Let's go back to that article. It was near the end. But not that. Let's see. Yeah, accident on docks. I was focusing on Barry O'Neill. I'm going to go here. Barry O'Neill. This is actually what we're investigating. Barry O'Neill injured at docks. Yeah, this doesn't mention the lions dying. 2 lions dead. Wife with folks. Can we visit wife? There's Barry O'Neill. No one there. I mean, yeah, the wife would be with folks. Mary is the name of the wife. Right. Okay. Yeah, Mary's name of wife. So no one's going to be at Barry's place.
What did you learn, Watson?
Not a thing, Holmes.
You learned nothing?
Don't get testy, Holmes. There wasn't anyone about.
My humble apologies, Watson.
So they do have more of like a a video player, like a media player interface for the videos, and I feel that that is affecting my immersion. They didn't have that in 1888. All right, so Mary O'Neill would be her name. But she would not be... She's seeing the parents. Well, there's only one O'Neill that has two names. We could assume these are the parents. Didn't have time for this one. Carol and Olivia, parents of both Thomas O'Neill, the never convicted Barry O'Neill, the well-known lion tamer. Does a jewelry thief have something to do with this? Let's see. Well, let's go visit the parents.
I was wondering if you could tell me anything about the death of your son's lions.
Oh, I wish we could. You know, Barry has traveled all over the world, and to think it would happen right here in London.
You've traveled with him, haven't you, Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes, I did. For all 5 years of our marriage. But I must say I'm getting a bit weary of it. I mean, really, Mr. Holmes, it's no life for a married man to go traipsing all around the world.
Of course it isn't. He should settle down and raise a family. My husband, Carol, could get Barry a job down at Rogers and Singer. Before I die, it would be nice to have one of my boys right nearby.
Where is your other son?
Last we heard, Thomas was in Oldenburg, Germany.
Germany? Roy's late show just finished a tour of Germany, did it not?
Yes, it did.
Tell me, did you happen to see your brother-in-law while you were there?
I certainly did not. But my husband might have. I can't really say for sure. You see, we don't talk about Thomas much.
I don't mean to pry, but may I ask why?
Oh, it's nothing really. You see, years ago, Thomas loaned Barry some money when he was trying to put together his animal show. And now Thomas believes that Barry is forever in his debt.
Okay, so put some notes down. Mary has been traveling with Barry for 5 years. The brother is a jewel thief. Thomas lent Barry money. Thomas last seen in Germany. I think I'm a little unclear as to why Holmes is investigating this case. Maybe we should visit our contacts. Maybe we might get a better idea as to why Holmes wants to investigate this to begin with. Let's talk to Inspector Lestrade about it. Sent the Lion's wagon over to Central Carriage Stables. Well, that seems something we should know. Lestrade sent Lion wagon to Central Carriage Stables.
Oh, no. What do you want? I thought I was going to have a nice quiet day.
Somebody has asked us to check today's Times, and I was wondering if you'd be so kind as to tell me what you know about the mysterious deaths in the southeast.
There's nothing mysterious about it. The culprits are in custody at Old Bailey. The victim's body is at Bart's.
And what about the murdered lions?
What of them?
What did you find at the scene of the crime? Holmes wants me to record it precisely.
What did I find? 2 lions shot a number of times, lying on top of one another. Wagon tracks leading away from the bodies. Footprints in the damp grass.
How many footprints, Inspector?
Oh, who knows? I believe there were 2 sets of boot prints, if you want to get specific. They entered and exited from the wagons. Now, will that do it for your Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson?
Nearly. And what became of the wagon? Surely Holmes will want to know that.
Abandoned in Archbishop's Park. I had a man drive it over to our Central Carriage Stables, largely so that someone could look after the horses.
Any motives for the murder?
Unfortunately, I haven't a clue.
All right, so I put down, let's see. Lestrade sent Lion wagon to Central Carriage Stables. Lions were shot multiple times, 2 sets of footprints. They entered and exited from the wagons. Now, also, Watson first asked about this death, and Lestrade said they have the culprits, and like there's no issue there. So maybe that one has already been solved. Maybe not. Maybe this will come back. I guess Watson isn't really sure which one that they're supposed to be investigating either. Like, he's asking about the dead man because that does seem more relevant. But then when that appears to be solved, he says, hey, what about those 2 lions? I know anything about that? And it doesn't indeed seem to be the case we're investigating. I mean, we could always look up Stephen Lyons' house. Is there a scene with him? Stephen Lyons. Yeah, there he is. I mean, he's not going to be there, but is there anyone there? The bloke owed the landlady 2 months back rent, promising to pay in advance next week, as he was expecting his ship to come in. Nothing on file. Can we talk to the landlady?
Lyon's landlady says he's dead.
We already know that, Watson. Did you find out anything else?
He owed her 2 months back rent, but he told her he'd be paying up plus several months in advance come Tuesday.
Uh-huh. Well, we don't talk to the landlady. Doesn't seem like there's more information to be found on that case. I mean, we could type in that he owed his landlady back rent. I don't know if this is actually going to get involved. It definitely seems like we're having more information about the lions. Let's see. Oh yeah, the lion wagon. Lestrade sent it to Central Carriage Stables. Jimmy wouldn't let us have a look at the evidence. All right. They wouldn't say no to us, though.
Did the dispatcher show you the wagon, Holmes?
Not only did he show it to me, it revealed some very interesting clues.
Oh, do tell.
The wagon housed a cage, which of course was no surprise. The door was wide open. I found that the padlock had been sprung, left to dangle on the ring bolt. Blood was smeared all over the stairs leading in and all over the floor inside.
Oh, how perfectly nauseating.
It was. But what interested me even more was what lay in the corner of the cage.
What was it?
2 large leather collars. Attached to the end of each collar was a leather pouch. Both pouches had been ripped open and emptied.
What do you suppose it adds up to?
Time will tell, Watson. Time will tell.
Okay, so cage door was open, padlock had been sprung, blood on stairs and in cage, 2 large leather collars with pouches attached. All right, so I guess just early on, it seems like the lions had something in their collars and someone wanted to steal it. But who could we ask about that? We could go through our list of names, our contacts, see if they know anything about this. Mr. Ellis is out of the country. All right. Edward Hall. No, they could not visit. Let's visit ourselves.
The victim, Stephen Lyons, was last seen in the company of Sylvia Carpenter, Marcy Edwards, and Collier Eddy at the Red Bull Inn. It was a simple matter for the police to identify and apprehend them. Would you like to talk to them?
Yes, thank you. Tell me, Miss Carpenter, what happened last evening?
He just dropped down dead, he did. I did nothing to him, I swear it.
Miss Carpenter, did you know the gentleman?
Never seen him before. Marcy, me and Collier was just sitting around talking about this and that, and the sailor comes up and he says he'd like to join us. So we started off to Marcy's place. We only got a few steps and the sailor starts gasping for air. He made an awful sound and then he just keeled over dead. I took off like a shot.
Did you notify the authorities?
No, why should I?
And then he just dropped over, dead as a doornail.
That's precisely the story Miss Carpenter told us.
Well, then that proves that it's the truth. Looks like the coppers got the wrong girl. But that ain't unusual, is it?
I understand the man was robbed.
Well, the man was dead. What use did he have a few quid?
Dead or not, it's still stealing, my good woman.
I was out for a little fun is all. Never seen the bloke before, and I had no cause to harm him.
The police seem to think that his money and gold earring might have been cause enough.
Well, I took the opportunity as it came is all, but I didn't murder him for it.
All right, so we are actually continuing to follow up on Stephen Lyons' murder. How will these combine at some point, I'm sure. I don't know how. So the woman's name was Sylvia Carpenter. I did not get the other names. Hold on. Let's just repeat this to get that information.
The victim, Stephen Lyons, was last seen in the company of Sylvia Carpenter, Marcy Edwards, and Collier Eddy at the Red Bull Inn. It was a simple matter for the police to identify...
What was that, the man's name?
The victim, Stephen Lyons, was last seen in the company of Sylvia Carpenter, Marcy Edwards, and Collier Eddy at the Red Bull Inn.
Something
It was
Eddy.
a simple matter for the police to identify and apprehend them.
I can't really tell what the first name is.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so Stephen Lyons. So we talked to Sylvia Carpenter, who said he just dropped down dead. He did. He gasped for air and keeled over dead. Marcy Edwards confirms story. C. Eddy took robbed body. So I guess he didn't say what he did with it. Like, it doesn't matter if we know what happened to the gold earrings. I'm not sure. But what reason would he have to just fall over dead? And they said before that it seemed like he expected that he was going to get some money to come in soon. Did that have anything to do with the Lions? Let's see. Was Quentin Hogg the person we just spoke to? No. This is a Scotland Yard inspector. Jewelry thefts. Okay, so this would be the Thomas O'Neill, the brother, probably.
You do appear to be up to your eyebrows in something, Hogg.
It's the jewel robberies here and on the continent.
Ah, yes, the society burglars and the Oldenburg jewels. I've been reading about it in the Times.
The cases are quite similar in several respects, though I'm baffled at how the thief or thieves have managed to escape detection.
I agree, it is a mystery.
So, what brings you here, Watson?
Holmes and I received a strange note instructing us to check today's Times. We discovered two items of interest, the murder of Lyons in Hyde Park and the mysterious death of a Stephen Lyons. Interesting coincidence, don't you think?
Oh, it is. I do wish I could help you, but I haven't kept up with the latest since I buried myself in this jewelry business.
All right, let me just see what he said at the beginning about the jewelry theft again.
You do appear to be up to your eyebrows in something, Hogg.
It's the jewel robberies here and on the continent.
Ah, yes, the society burglars and the Oldenburg jewels. I've been reading about it in the Times.
The cases are quite similar in several respects, though I'm baffled at how the thief or thieves have managed to escape detection.
I agree, it is a mystery.
So, what brings you here, Watson?
Holmes and...
All right, so... Type down Oldenburg jewels and society robbers. London Library. Can we get look up at what the definition of lions in the encyclopedia? Like we did the mummy that one time? That is what we're doing.
That lions are not only native to Africa, but also to parts of Persia, Mesopotamia, and India. The image of the lion is used to symbolize the power of Britain. But of course, we knew that already, didn't we, Holmes?
Indeed, Watson, indeed.
Right, not much help here at the library. Do you want to know what a lion is? Well, here you go. Sir Jasper Meek. Who is he again? Oh, best medical men. Okay. So he's did he so clearly he would have examined Stephen Lyons. I wonder if he investigated the actual Lyons as well.
Lions? The beasts or the dead chap?
The dead chap they found down on St. George's Road.
Now that's a lion I've seen.
What do you suppose was the cause of death?
For once I believe the papers had it right. It was a drug, some sort of poison.
What sort of drug?
I don't know. It affected the respiratory system. His lips and fingertips were quite blue, but his eyes had a distinct yellow tint. I'm afraid I've never seen anything like it before. Something rather exotic, I should imagine.
Ooh, exotic. What were the symptoms again?
Lions? The beasts or the dead chap?
The dead chap they found down on St. George's Road.
Now that's a lion I've seen.
What do you suppose was the cause of death?
For once I believe the papers had it right. It was a drug, some sort of poison.
What sort of drug?
I don't know. It affected the respiratory system. His lips and fingertips were quite blue, but his eyes had a distinct yellow tint. I'm afraid I've never seen anything like it before. Something rather exotic,
All right. So, cause of death was unknown drug, affected respiratory system, lips and fingertips were blue, eyes yellow, exotic. Maybe drugs were being trafficked in the Lyons collars? And then Stephen Lyons just decided he was gonna go to town on it? I mean, if he stole drugs, I don't know why he would have taken all the drugs. H.R. Murray. Ooh, the chemist, yeah.
Why, H.R., whatever are you doing?
Going home, Whitson, going home.
Going home? I was hoping you could answer a question about the mysterious death of Stephen Lyons.
Lyons. Ah, yes, 896. No real evidence for that one. Just some clothes. No personal effects. Clothing undamaged. But traces of sea salt indicating he may have been a sailor. Well, that's about it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off. Ta-ta!
Ta-ta?
And do say hello to your friend Mr. Helms for me, will you, old chap?
So he said there was nothing, no evidence, but there's like traces of sea salt. Okay, so he was by the ocean. Let's see, head clerk of the Land Records Department.
Let me have a look at this list. Of all of these people, Thomas O'Neill is the only name that rings a bell. He was a suspect in several jewel robberies, but he was never convicted.
I see.
All right, we already knew that Thomas O'Neill is probably a jewel robber, but has never been convicted. He said, let me take a look at that list. What was the list? I wonder what list that was. Just whatever names have Holmes and Watson might have at this point in time, which of course we can't see because it might include names that I don't have yet. Nope, not him. Langdale Pike. Columnist, contributor to London papers. Pike's home with a head cold. Can we talk to him?
Well, Watson, it seems that old Langdale is at home with a raging case of the sniffles.
Perhaps we should call on him there.
No, I dare say we'll all be better off if we leave him alone with his tissues and his mustard plaster.
Mustard plaster? I don't think I even know what that is. Porky Shinwell. Right, he's an innkeeper. He used to live a life of crime. Red-haired chap talked with the dead guy the night before the murder.
Don't know a thing about them jungle-type lions, but I might be able to help you out with Stephen Lyons.
How so, Shinwell? Did you know him?
Well, he came in here from time to time whenever his ship was in port. Friend of mine up at Pentonville knew his brother. Says the two of them were lock-pickers of the ace variety. Anyways, just yesterday afternoon, Stephen Lyons comes in here with some red-headed fella. About an hour after Lyons left, in comes Derek Quinn, and he struts right over to this red-headed bloke.
Who might Derek Quinn be?
Don't know, sir. But I've never liked the looks of him, I haven't.
What about Thomas O'Neill? Do you know anything about him?
Don't believe I've ever met him. But from what I hear about the bloke, I'm surprised I didn't run into him in the slammer.
What have you heard?
This is only rumor, mind you. But he's suspected of every jewel theft from here to Timbuktu. And they says he'd two-time you in the wink of an eye if it'd line his pockets.
All right. I mean, a lot of people saying, hey, that Thomas O'Neill steals a lot of jewels. This is the first time we've heard the idea that maybe he might two-time you, however. All right, so let's see. He said that Stephen Lyons was in a bar with a red-headed fellow, and then Derek Quinn. That was like an odd sentence, because he said he was in here with Derek Quinn, and Holmes said, who's Derek Quinn? And then he said, I don't know. I mean, we could look up Derek Quinn. There's Derek Quinn. Wouldn't answer the door. Proprietor of Vipers Unlimited. His toxins are mild and intended as health tonics, but suspects he sells venom for darker purposes. Oh, we found the proprietor of the poison shop. Maybe that's relevant to this case.
Pity. It appears that no one is in.
However, can you tell, Holmes?
There is a sign on the door that says, we are gone for the day.
How terribly observant, Holmes.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
I don't suppose Vipers Unlimited is in the address book. It is. No, I guess it's the same place. They sell snakes.
What did you learn, Watson?
Not a thing, Holmes.
You learned nothing?
Don't get testy, Holmes. There wasn't anyone about.
My humble apologies, Watson.
Derek Quinn sells snakes and venom. And so he was talking with Stephen Lyons, who died from some unidentified poison. You know what would be a good use for the library if we could go there now and say, what would be like the symptoms of someone perhaps getting injected with snake venom? What would happen to someone? I don't know. We look up the definition of lions. Somerset House? Let's see. Office of the Registrar. Commons Will Office. Thomas and Barry are the sons of Carol and Olivia O'Neill. Well, we knew that.
It appears that Barry and Thomas O'Neill are the sons of Carol and Olivia O'Neill.
Very observant, Watson.
It was nothing, Holmes.
All right, so that is our notebook. So, what have we learned? Well, let's see. A friend is asking us to solve this case. Who would the friend be? Who would want us to look into this? He worked for Aberdeen Shipping, first officer. Maybe we should check out Aberdeen Shipping. Maybe under shipping? Aberdeen Navigation Co. Easton said he would give well, we're the proper authorities. Kind of. Sort of.
Stephen Lyons has been on board for about 2 years now. To tell you the truth, I had just begun to look into irregularities in his paperwork.
What prompted you to do that?
It seems like some things started disappearing from behind locked doors. Never found any of it. But when I asked him about it, he was rather evasive.
My, that sounds incriminating.
But more than that, I had reason to believe that he carried unassigned cargo for his own profit.
What sort of cargo, Mr. Eason?
Everything, from horse collars to gems to French perfumes.
When did you discover this?
Following our recent passage on the Rhine.
Okay. You get a little something there. So, he was with Aberdeen for 2 years, suspected of stealing, also suspected of transporting his own cargo. You know, if his brother's a jewel thief, Stephen having a way of transporting cargo would probably be very useful. What else could we investigate? St. George's Road, Southwark. Let's see. Wearing gold earrings. Those are gone. Owed the landlady back rent. Cause of death was unknown drug. Affected the respiratory system. His lips and fingers were blue, eyes yellow, exotic. There were traces of sea salt on him. With Aberdeen for 2 years, transporting cargo. We can't find Derek Quinn, but you would think that Derek Quinn, you think that's where the poison came from. The red-headed fellow. Have we seen anyone who has been described as having red hair? He just dropped down dead. The Barry O'Neill. Injured. Actually, where is Barry O'Neill? Is he at like a hospital, maybe? We've been investigating a lot about Stephen Lyons, but there's the other case with the 2 lions. And Barry O'Neill isn't dead, right? I'm looking for hospital. I don't remember. I don't know if they said where he is at the moment. London Hospital? Perhaps not. There has to be like some sort of hospital that he was taken to if he's not at home. I don't know if they actually stated it. I mean, we could go talk to his family again. I don't suppose his boss said where he went.
What can I do for you 2 hombres?
We're investigating last night's murder of the 2 lions in Hyde Park.
Oh, now that was something. I'm telling you, I've been from the Pecos to the Pampas, from the Sierra to the Sahara, and I never would have thought I'd have 2 of my lions killed in the capital city of the civilized world.
Oh, my. Then the lions were yours, Mr. Slade?
Well, in a manner of speaking, they were with the show. Barry O'Neill actually owned them, poor compadre. He's laid up in St. Thomas Hospital with a busted leg.
St. Thomas Hospital.
On the ship yesterday when a crate fell smack on him. He'll be laid up for some time. Poor fella. Poor me, his cats kind of made my show.
Do you know how he acquired the cats?
Oh, he caught him himself in Africa with his bare hands. Probably the only hands that ever handled those cats. I'm telling you, they take your head off as soon as look at you.
So no one else could safely get close to the Lyons?
Well, there's Barry's wife. She's traveling with the show, too. Well, she's in the act, but just window dressing, if you know what I mean. I hear she's staying with Barry's folks here in London.
All right, so no one else could get safely close to the lions. So if someone wanted to steal what was in their collars, they would have had to shoot the lions. But if Barry was the only one who could get close to them, surely he put whatever it was in their collars. Would Barry have... Well, Barry's brother is the jewel thief. I'm sorry, yeah, I was getting them mixed up. Stephen's brother is not a... Stephen does not have a brother. Barry O'Neill's brother is the jewel thief. Stephen Lyons works for Aberdeen and is the one who transports his own cargo. Could there have been jewels in the collars? Is that how maybe jewels were being smuggled? No one else was going to get close to those lions except for Barry. But we know where which hospital he's in now. Let's see. There it is, St. Thomas's Hospital. Nurses are tough customers.
Mr. O'Neill, Dr. John Watson, may I speak with you for a moment?
What about?
Your lions. We're investigating their murder.
Oh, you're from the police?
No, I'm working with Sherlock Holmes. The lions were yours, were they not?
Yes. And such good lads, both of them. Lenny and Bruce. We've been together so long. I don't know what I shall do without them.
Do you have any notion who would want your lions dead?
No, not really. I can't quite imagine who would... Oh, 2 innocent lions dead.
There, Mr. O'Neill. I assure you, Mr. Holmes and I will get to the bottom of this.
That's all we're going to learn from him? Feel like we should have gotten more. I do like his performance, though. We just learned that the lions' names are Lenny and Bruce. And that's it, I guess? I don't know. Feel like there should have been more we could have spoken. Like, we didn't even bring up his brother. No, not that one. So the lions were killed in Hyde Park. Anything there for us to see?
I question why we have come to this location. If clues are what we are seeking, then we are in the wrong place altogether.
All right. No. We're not getting anything there. Okay, so Barry O'Neill. We could talk with the family again. Was there anything there that I missed?
I was wondering if you could tell me anything about the death of your son's lions.
Oh, I wish we could. You know, Barry has traveled all over the world. And to think it would happen right here in London.
You've traveled with him, haven't you, Mrs. O'Neill?
Yes, I did. For all 5 years of our marriage. But I must say I'm getting a bit weary of it. I mean, really, Mr. Holmes, it's no life for a married man to go traipsing all around the world.
Of course it isn't. He should settle down and raise a family. My husband, Carol, could get Barry a job down at Rogers and Singer. Before I die, it would be nice to have one of my boys right nearby.
Where is your other son?
Last we heard, Thomas was in Oldenburg, Germany.
Germany? Roy's late show just finished a tour of Germany, did it not?
Yes, it did.
Tell me, did you happen to see your brother-in-law while you were there?
I certainly did not. But my husband might have. I can't really say for sure. You see, we don't talk about Thomas much.
I don't mean to pry, but may I ask why?
Oh, it's nothing really. You see, years ago, Thomas loaned Barry some money when he was trying to put together his animal show. And now Thomas believes that Barry is forever in his debt.
Well, if Thomas believes that Barry is forever in his debt, then maybe Thomas is getting Barry to smuggle the jewels in the lion's collar. What was that location that the mother mentioned? Could get him a job at, was it Rudge and Singer? Manufacture carriages. Didn't want to talk. I don't want to know what Tommy's up to. Who's Tom? Okay, so maybe there is something. Oh, Mr. O'Neill is here.
Mr. O'Neill, if you don't mind, we'd like to ask you some questions about your son.
I knew he'd bring no good with him. That's the very reason I told him to stay away from the house last night. And I can tell you and your other constable friend here that I don't know nothing about what he's been up to.
We're not from the police, Mr. O'Neill. We're just trying to find out about the murder of your son's lions.
Oh, you hear about Barry? I thought it was Tommy what brung you. Me Barry's a little wild, but he'll settle down with time.
What do you mean by wild, Mr. O'Neill?
If you don't call getting all cozy with a bunch of jungle cats wild, then I don't know what could be. Between you and me, I'm glad those bloody cats are dead.
Why is that?
Maybe now he'll worry more about the bloody British lion keeping the Irish under its paw.
Well, that is a man with some impressive red hair. He's glad the lions are dead. Let's see. Let me just remind myself of something. Let's talk to the barkeeper. The barkeeper said that Stephen Lyons was in the bar with a red-headed fellow than Derek Quinn. So, did he say that Stephen Lyons, that the red-headed fellow left, then Derek Quinn came in? Let me just remind myself what the order of that was.
Don't know a thing about them jungle-type lions, but I might be able to help you out with Stephen Lyons.
How so, Shinwell? Did you know him?
Well, he came in here from time to time whenever his ship was in port. Friend of mine up at Pentonville knew his brother. Says the two of them were lockpickers of the ace variety. Anyways, just yesterday afternoon, Stephen Lyons comes in here with some red-headed fella. About an hour after Lyons left, in comes Derek Quinn, and he struts right over to this red-headed bloke.
Who might Derek Quinn be?
Don't know, sir. But I've never liked the looks of him, I haven't.
What about Thomas O'Neill? Do you know anything about him?
Don't believe I've ever met him. But from what I hear about the bloke, I'm surprised I didn't run into him in the slammer.
What have you heard?
This is only rumor, mind you. But he's suspected of every jewel theft from here to Timbuktu. And they says he'd two-time you in the wink of an eye if it'd line his pockets.
All right, so I got this one backwards. Let's see. Stephen left, then Derek Quinn met red-headed man. Okay, so red-headed man. We know that Barry's father is redheaded, but if he's redheaded, that might mean that Thomas is redheaded. And the innkeeper is telling us that Thomas will two-time you. So maybe the red-headed man is Thomas. He met to meet Stephen, and then afterwards, Derek Quinn, the poison man, came in to meet Thomas to give him poison, possibly. But then why if that's the course of events, why would Thomas poison Stephen? Was it just to tie off a loose end, possibly? Maybe what we're getting here is that Thomas wanted to hire Stephen to kill the lions and take whatever it was from the collars. And then maybe poisoned him so no one would know what happened. It could be. It feels like we're still missing something, though. Feels like we're missing something. But are there any other names? No, not that one. I don't know. It doesn't seem like we've encountered any other names to follow up on. Would there be any way of actually encountering Thomas? Societies Club. You know, they mentioned something when they're talking about the jewel thief. They mentioned something about the society robbers. Doesn't mean there's a connection there, but okay. Oh, this is where Langdale Pike would be. Pity we can't talk to Derek Quinn and pick his brain about poison. Let me just go back to the Times. You know, I don't remember seeing the article that stated that the lions were dead. How would we have missed? I would have missed that. Right, this is Stephen Lyons. This mentions the lion tamer being injured. It doesn't actually mention the lions dying. Maybe on the... No, not that. Maybe on the front page. There's the ad for the Wild African Extravaganza. Oh, here it is. Lions murdered in Hyde Park. 2 lions, both male, found shot to death in Hyde Park in the early hours of the morning. Neither the constable who discovered the macabre sight nor the inspectors of Scotland Yard admit any clue to the perpetrator or motive to this. So no real information there. Just wanted to read that because it was, yeah, just because it started with, right, the heavy paw of the British lion, Durkin Topper. I mean, it's probably nothing.
Mr. Topper, I am curious about the coincidence of your letter to the editor and the murder of 2 lions in Hyde Park.
I assure you that while the symbolism of the act does not escape me, I abhor any sort of violence, and am quite capable of making my point by other means. I'm a firm believer that the pen is mightier than the sword.
All right, well, there was actually a clip for that. Also, there was that one odd classified to Parks Not. Is that a name in here? No, it's not. I don't actually know what Parks Not is supposed to be. Yeah. Personal Parks Not. You promised on your own to communicate while you torture me thus. Yeah, there's really nothing to clarify anything there. So looking at the notes, I'm not seeing more information. Could we talk to the suspects again? Let's see, which one was that? Yeah, he did not know anything about it. Oh, no, not that. I think he's not available. All right, yeah, the barrister. The young barrister, though. Is this the guy? Yeah, it is.
The victim, Stephen Lyons, was last seen in the company of Sylvia Carpenter, Marcy Edwards, and Collier Eddy at the Red Bull Inn. It was a simple matter for the police to identify and apprehend them. Would you like to talk to them?
Yes, thank you. Tell me, Miss Carpenter, what happened last evening?
He just dropped down dead, he did. I done nothing to him, I swear it.
Miss Carpenter, did you know the gentleman?
Never seen him before. Marcy, me and Collier was just sitting around talking about this and that, and the sailor comes up and he says he'd like to join us. So we started off to Marcy's place. We only got a few steps and the sailor starts gasping for air. He made an awful sound and then he just keeled over dead. I took off like a shot.
Did you notify the authorities?
No, why should I?
And then he just dropped over, dead as a doornail.
That's precisely the story Miss Carpenter told us.
Well, then that proves that it's the truth. Looks like the copper's got the wrong girl. But that ain't unusual, is it?
I understand the man was robbed.
Well, the man was dead. What use did he of a few quid?
Dead or not, it's still stealing, my good woman.
I was out for a little fun is all. Never seen the bloke before, and I had no cause to harm him.
The police seem to think that his money and gold earring might have been cause enough.
Well, I took the opportunity as it came is all, but I didn't murder him for it.
No additional information, really. But he did say that they were arrested at the Red Bull Inn, I think. A working class pub. The Lion spent a good bit of time here last night before he keeled over.
Stephen Lyons. He was a first officer for Aberdeen Navigation on the SS Trueheart, but he was always talking about buying his own ferry boat. He was in here just last night.
Was anyone with him?
He came in with a red-headed bloke, but the fella left after just that one drink. Then Lyons has a drink with Wally Sharp, who comes in now and then. Sharp left, and Lyons spots Sylvia Carpenter and that Marcy Edwards, who was sitting with one of their regular customers, Collier Eddie. So Lyons goes over there. Staggers over, if you want to know the truth, though he hadn't had but a couple of drinks. I've seen him put quite a bit away at other times without ever showing a sign. So he goes over there, sits down, they get all friendly like, and then they all left together.
Okay. So he was here with the red-headed man. So the red-headed man got the poison previously and slipped it to him here, and then Lyons left with the ladies? He also said that he was here with someone named Shaw? So I couldn't really make out what he said. Sharp, possibly? Wallet? We'll see if this is the guy. Yeah, it looks like this is the guy.
Captain Sharp, how well did you know Stephen Lyons?
He was my first officer. Fact is, we didn't get on too well. He didn't like taking orders. Always talked about having his own ship someday. But Aberdeen's doesn't pay much, so where would a man like him get his hands on that kind of money?
When did you see him last?
Last night at the Red Bull, we had a drink together.
All right, that's the captain. So he's saying Stephen Lyons wanted his own boat, but where would he get the money? Where could he possibly get the money to do that? I don't know what other information we could find. All right. What happens if we go to the judge? Like, we kind of have...
Hear ye. The Queen's Court stands in order. A pleasure to see you again. So it's the murder of the Lyons you're investigating, isn't it? Excellent. But first things first. Tell me, who murdered those unfortunate beasts?
Hey, we have...
Remember, you're to choose either from your notebook or the directory.
Hey, we have FMV of the judge this time. It's not a still image. All right, who murdered the beasts? How do I get there? What? No. Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm suspecting that Lyons killed the Lyons. I wish we could have gotten some information about him having a gun. I don't think it came up. We're saying Stephen Lyons.
No, I'm sorry. You've been badly on that one.
I blundered.
Return to the starting point immediately.
That's what the judge tells you if you get it wrong in court. Return to the starting point. Sorry. All right, so we're saying that Stephen Lyons was not the one who killed the Lyons. So if it wasn't him, possibly it was Thomas O'Neill killing the Lyons to get what was in their collars. I mean, we do know that Barry's parents and his wife are not sad about the Lyons being dead. That doesn't mean that they would have killed them about it.
No, I'm sorry.
All right, how do I leave then? Yeah, I feel like there's like a couple of video clips that I don't have.
Hear ye.
So, okay. If I suggested maybe it's Thomas O'Neill, is he in this? He is. Maybe I think Thomas O'Neill shot them. Your Honor.
Right you are. Now tell the court, why did Thomas O'Neill kill the Lyons?
This is how court works after all. The judge already knows who did it, but they need you to just explain it.
Right you are. Now tell the court, why did Thomas O'Neill kill the lions?
How do I answer that? Oh, okay, there we go. About to say, I can't pick the reason from my address book. He did it in self-defense, jealous of the father, admired his brother's skill, wanted to retrieve the Oldenburg jewels from the next pouches. So the circus was in Germany, and Thomas had stolen the Oldenburg jewels from Germany. So it does seem to be the case that Thomas is having Barry smuggle the jewels in the collars.
Good work. Now for Thomas O'Neill's accomplices. I am told that there are 2 other criminals involved in this case. Please inform the court as to their respective identities. Do remember, you can choose only one at a time. But don't worry, I will inform you if you make an inaccurate choice.
I'm glad he's going to inform me about that. All right. So, I assume that his brother knew that the jewels were in there, because no one else could have gotten close to the lions. Oh, okay. Pick both of them. I thought it was one at a time. And what would Stephen Lyons' part in this? What would that have been?
It appears you've been doing your homework on this case. Now then, what role did Barry O'Neill play in the crime?
Okay, so Barry, he drove the wagon, he fastened the pouches around the lions' necks, he drugged Roy Slade so Thomas could steal the lions, he purchased the jewels in Africa for... No, he put the pouches around the lions' necks.
Quite so. Now tell us, what essential role did Stephen Lyons play in this crime?
Now, that's the thing I'm not entirely sure about. Maybe I'll find out. He picked the lock. Oh, yeah, okay, I forgot about that part, that the barkeeper did say that Stephen Lyons was known as being an ace lockpicker. Okay, I completely forgot about that part, that the cages were locked, and the locks were sprung. I guess I just didn't think about that, because Barry could have opened the cages, right? He owned the lions, you think he could have just opened the cages. He took the pouches off the lions. He held the cage open while Thomas stole the animals. He robbed Marcy Edwards and gave the jewels to Thomas. All right, well, he would have been the lockpicker.
Excellent deduction. Now tell us, who murdered Stephen Lyons?
So, I'm guessing it is Thomas, who just wanted to get rid of a loose end.
Good show. But do tell the court just how Thomas O'Neill did the foul deed.
All right, how did he foul it up? Poisoned him with arsenic, poisoned him with rare snake venom acquired from Derek Quinn. Had Collier Eddy and Marcy Edwards hold Stephen Lyons down while he poisoned him with arsenic. Paid the bartender to serve bad liquor. No, he spoke with the poison Your Honor, are you aware we have like a poison store in the town?
What a ruthless chap, that O'Neill. Seems to have all kinds of blood on his hands. Now tell me, why did he kill Stephen Lyons?
He hated lions of any type. Lyons threatened to blackmail him. Lyons refused to hand over the jewels, so he wouldn't have to pay Lyons for his part in the crime. Okay, so we know that Lyons thought that he was going to have money coming in, right? Lyons did not have the jewels on him. Like he had a bit of money. he was wearing gold earrings, but when he was robbed, like, he didn't have the jewels, right? So he probably gave... Yeah, but, I mean... Okay, so his last night alive, he was at the bar with the redheaded man, and they didn't say anything about an argument, right? I don't think they said anything about that. They were having a good time. So I think it's probably just O'Neill not wanting to pay him. Because if the two of them were in the bar having drinks together and having a good time, and then, you know, Lyons is going over to the women saying, hey, let's go, it doesn't sound like he's having an argument. So I'm going to say that O'Neill just didn't want to pay Lyons.
Double-crossed. Now, there's a tale that Lyons didn't live to tell. Good show. You've done a most satisfactory job on this case. Court is recessed. Until the next time, of course.
Yay, we did it.
My word, dear Holmes. Perhaps we are in the wrong business altogether. If we had been top-notch, we should have cracked this case in less points. I think I'll ring up the university immediately and see if we might enroll in a detective course.
Now, Watson, efficiency is not everything. We got to talk to some wonderful people. If you remember the first game, the way the scoring works is the more people you talk to, the higher the score gets. And Holmes's score is, you know, is the potential low score to try to get to, which my understanding is it's almost impossible to actually get as low as he gets. But this is the sort of replay value that the game has, that you're trying to lower your score to match Holmes. Okay, let's get the wrap up.
Right this way, Inspector.
I'm a busy man, Holmes. I don't have time to be traipsing about London at your beck and call. Now, why have you called me here?
To help you with this case.
Oh, yeah? How?
By solving the double murders of Lyons and Lyons.
You know who killed the beasts and the chap on St. George's Road?
Yes, and I think you'll be very interested in learning why the deed was done.
Go on, then. I'm listening.
As you must recall, Inspector, 5 months ago, Thomas O'Neill, a jewel thief, escaped a London police search.
We almost had him.
Almost apparently was not good enough. Less than 3 months later, he was detained in Germany in connection with the stolen jewels of the Duchess of Oldenburg. Although the theft was similar to O'Neill's style, they found no evidence to hold him.
What has all this to do with dead lions?
I was just coming to that, Inspector. At the same time as the Duchess's jewels disappeared, Roy Slade's wild animal show finished its German tour. Barry O'Neill, brother of Thomas, happens to be the lion tamer for the troupe.
Could Thomas have used Barry O'Neill's lions to smuggle the jewels into London?
Excellent hypothesis, Watson. I see you are learning.
Oh, thank you, Holmes.
But where did he put the jewels? Behind the lion's back molars?
No need for anything as deep-seated as that. Leather collars with pouches did the trick.
But if the lion tamer put the pouches on, why did Thomas O'Neill have to kill the lions to get them off?
Oh, I know that one. Because Barry O'Neill was in hospital with 2 broken legs.
Right you are, Watson. And that's why Thomas had to solicit the help of Stephen Lyons. Without a key to the cage, he needed the services of an expert lockpicker like Lyons.
Then who killed Lyons?
You mean the animals or the man?
The man.
Thomas O'Neill, so that he wouldn't have to pay for the lockpicker's services.
You know, Holmes, the fracture that Barry O'Neill suffered would have mended in 4 weeks. If Thomas would have had some patience, he would have been able to get his jewels back without any complications.
Ah, yes, Watson. Patience is a virtue. Unfortunately, it seldom comes hand in hand with stealing and murder.
Having spoken with Barry O'Neill, I can't believe he'd be a party to the killing of his own lions.
I don't believe he was. That wasn't part of the original plan.
I've got to hand it to you, Holmes. You've done a fine job on a most difficult case.
Thank you, Inspector. But it really was elementary.
One more thing, Holmes.
Inspector?
We know in the case of Mr. Lyons' death that the murder weapon was poison. Wherever did Thomas O'Neill get it?
Derek Quinn, Vipers Unlimited.
I certainly am glad that this case is shut. But there is one thing that I'm not certain of.
Yes?
Who did leave the note on our doorstep in the first place?
Elementary. Mary O'Neill.
The lion tamer's missus?
I believe she'd had her fill of circus life and was ready to settle down. When she suspected Thomas O'Neill and her husband were involved in jewel thieving, she knew it was time to get out.
Holmes, you are simply amazing.
I mean, that's kind of a guess, Holmes. I was wondering, going into this last cutscene, who was the friend? I guess that does make sense, but I think Holmes, that does kind of sound like a guess, Holmes. Elementary, it was the wife. Shut up. Shut up, Watson. It was the wife. All right, that's The Two Lions, one of the three cases in Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, Volume 2. You know, we never actually saw Thomas O'Neill. I'm wondering if I missed one or two cutscenes in that, because I feel like there might have been something else to maybe tie things together a bit more. But, yeah, I mean, we got the information. And we argued the case in court, as such as it is. Is Thomas O'Neill, were they even able to arrest him? Is he here? Like, I mean, he must be here if he was part of the plot and killed Stephen Lyons. But it's kind of odd that he doesn't even show up, unless I missed a cutscene with him. Anyway, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Volume 2. Let's take a look at the manual. There's Holmes. He's investigating something. I don't know if this would be much different than... Did we take a look at the manual for the first one? I'm not sure. But if we did, this couldn't be too much different. Oh, right. Like, this is in character, isn't it? My dear friend, this second volume of cases presents the opportunity for you to increasingly reinforce and refine your powers of discrimination and deductive reasoning, whether the realm of criminal transgression be that of political unrest, cultural advancement, or the intrigue of international affairs. Bear in mind that despite differences in means, method of operation, or milieu of events surrounding a case, each investigation requires unerring logic as well as strict adherence to the facts. While you conduct your study in detection, you have available the assistance of both Holmes and myself for the retracing of evidence for a case. However, you determine the route of exploration and the line of questioning. Your task is to glean the most information from the least number of resources. Then, to present your case in court, once you have gathered enough evidence, collect each of the key facts and answer all of the judge's questions correctly, and you'll be presented with the option of learning Holmes' solution to the case. And now, as you pursue this adventure in sleuthing, I bid you the best of wishes in your endeavors. I am your most humble servant, Dr. John Watson. To assist you in your investigations, I am closing what is called the CD. Okay, we don't need to be in Watson, like, be in character as Watson for the entire thing about how do you put the CD in the Sega CD. Oh, by Jove, Holmes! Now you press the start button. Oh, and there's Sonic the Hedgehog wagging his finger by the Sega logo. All right, the three cases, the two lions that seem to play on words, lions and lions. The death of these two were definitely no game. What were the motive behind their killings? Were the murders simply routine, or were they a symbolic act of retaliation against British rule? The second one is the pilfered paintings, Summer Solstice and the Blue Unicorn. Rarity is an artistic expression, recently discovered but more recently stolen. Who could have taken the paintings? Was it for profit, position, or just a passion for art? The murdered munitions magnate, he was a man with entrepreneurial skill, elite clientele, and an eye for the ladies. But someone had an eye out for him, and now he's dead. But why? Was it for money, munitions, or remuneration for marital faith betrayed? So we did one case out of the three, and it's going to tell you how to play the game. We know how to play the game. It's the same way as you played it the first one. And there's notes sections for the three cases. You may be called away during the course of your investigations. At such times, you have the option of following your case progress and score, reopening them at a later time. To save a game, make sure your Sega CD's internal RAM has been formatted. This is explained in your Sega CD manual. Then, go to the Table of Contents menu and select the game you want to save. a message will appear automatically, telling you your game is being saved. To load a saved game, select Load from the table of contents, and then choose the game you want to resume. If you reset and select a case from the table of contents, the system will automatically load the last game you've played. Also Prince of Persia on Sega CD. It sure is. Hundreds of movie clips were used to create animations so human they must be seen to be believed. I know I would not be able to believe it. All right. What do we think about Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Law? So this is actually a very easy one to rank because it's the same game as Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Volume 1, except it's more cases. So it has to either be one above or one below. It can't actually be any more than that. It can't be further away. So it's actually an extremely easy one to rank. We've only played the first case from both of them at this point. Which I don't know if I would say I have a preference of one of the cases over the other, but what I would say is that the judge is actually FMV this time. That's neat. It's just kind of the same game. I don't think like the load times or performance was any different. The menus were the same. It's still a very dry game. There's no music during like when you're menuing. There's still no music playing. It's still the case that you take your own notes, and that the enjoyment you get from this is gonna be completely determined by just how much you immerse yourself into the role of detective. So it's kind of just the same game. But I enjoyed playing this, like I enjoyed playing the first one. And I did think it was odd that the culprit didn't actually appear in the case. Maybe I missed something, though. I'm not sure. But I enjoyed playing this tonight, so and I feel in a good mood, so I am going to put Volume 2 above Volume 1. That's our new number 7, Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, Volume 2. So, it had to either be that or right below it. Couldn't have been anywhere else. I don't think Volume 3 came out on the Sega CD. I'll have to confirm that. But I do know that there is a Volume 3. I mean, the Sega CD is not the only platform this came out on, right? And on other platforms, I do believe there was a Volume 3, but I don't think Volume 3 came out on Sega CD. So this might be the end of Sherlock Holmes for us. So we'll say goodbye to Holmes and Watson and their wonderful cast of amateur actors that they got to try to imitate some English accents with varying degrees of success. Let's say varying. That's been Sherlock Holmes.